That's crazy.
It is crazy.
Good morning, America. Welcome back to the CPC YA Podcast. I am G Racing. That is Michael. I couldn't come up with anything, and this
wild
is
start.
Tyke is different enough. I don't have to come up with something.
Wow.
You told me the other day what this topic was going to be, and I forgot. So you better tell me what today's topic is, Michael.
Well, Grayson, I see that you're unusually chipper this morning.
Yoo-hoo! It's a little later than normal. See what happens when you get me past 10? This is what you get.
It's getting strange.
Man.
We are closing out the year with CPC YA. Depending on when you're watching this, last night we had our Christmas party, which is just kind of our kind of send off for the rest of the year. We're not going to have a CPC YA worship experience until the first Sunday of January. We take the last couple weeks of December off usually. So for the next few weeks, I felt like it would be cool if we just kind of hang out, look back. For this week, I think it'd be cool if we talked about what our favorite moment from this past year has been with CPC YA, as we just kind of look back. Next week, maybe we take a look forward, talk about what we are excited about next year, and then the week after that, we'll just talk about the message series that we're kicking off the year with in January. We're not going to get into it now because we want it to be a surprise. No,
I thought last night was really cool.
Yeah,
I thought that went really well. I don't think I was at the one last year. I think this was my first Christmas party, and it was a great time. I enjoyed myself. I think my wife enjoyed herself too. So yeah, that was great. I got some cinnamon roll popcorn, which, if you know me at all, cinnamon rolls are the, I guess, number 4 thing in my life, because it's God, my wife, my kid, probably friends, and then cinnamon rolls.
Okay.
So
yeah, your math was still off, but we got the point.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you enjoyed
fine.
it.
Wife and kids, family all bundled up into one. So now it's 4.
Me, I'm up there.
You're up
to
probably 5.
I'm somewhere in
cinnamon rolls, Michael. I mean, that's right. Good. Trust me.
Dang.
All right, I'll take it.
My favorite thing this whole year was honestly probably when we worshiped outside with the bonfire the first time with the rain.
With the rain.
Yeah.
That was my favorite 4-1 cut. That was my favorite probably young adults night that we've had.
That was a really special night. That was cool. I do remember that. This night, Jared was here, right?
Yep.
Jared spoke that night.
Oh, we came inside and he spoke.
He spoke. Yeah, it was one of those, like, it's so cool how we always have our plan of how we want things to go, and sometimes they go a little sideways, but those are still even the nights where God will show you, like, hey, it's not in the plan. It's not about the plan. It's about, did you show up expecting? Did you show up hungry? And it was cool to see God move the way he did in that situation.
It was cool to see that it didn't seem like anyone cared.
Yeah.
Like, no one was like, oh my gosh, it's raining and we're outside. Like, no one's attitude was that way. It was totally just like embraced.
Yeah.
It was super awesome. Were you there? Yes, I have pictures of you. I was just testing your knowledge this morning, see if you're awake.
I was leading worship.
Tyke was literally singing.
I was just seeing if he was there this morning,
Yeah. Tyke was there.
What was your favorite experience? And you can't say the same one.
I won't. So
he's like, I'll show you.
if you viewers or even if you're just listening, if you guys don't know me, I enjoy
He's Tyke.
I greatly enjoy like the hustle of work. Like, every job I've had prior to ministry was very physically taxing and emotionally taxing, especially at my last secular job, because of how many people I had to deal with. Also, I won't say emotionally, mentally taxing. My favorite time, because that's the way I am, was when Pastor Michael was out during the summer. Because I was just go. Eventually it caught up to me, and at the end I was like, man, that dude better come back. Or
I thought you were just like, I was just glad Michael was gone. I was like, wow,
that dude better come back, or else I'm not gonna make it. But
no, I see your point there, though. It's just like the mindset was just different. It was just like, well, we have to run this, and I don't work here, and I don't know what I'm doing, but let's figure it out. It was an insanely awesome learning experience, that's for sure.
And that's it's my personality type if something needs to be done, I'll get it done. I really enjoy being in charge of things. So that season, because Michael was gone, like, I wasn't necessarily, or I was on leadership team. I had just been added like a week before Michael got sick, and Grayson wasn't on leadership team. And it was one of those things, like, I remember getting pulled into the office with Miss Lisa and Pastor Kevin, and they were like, hey, we need to figure something out, because we can't ask Michael right now what we're supposed to do. And they were throwing out names, and I remember, like, Jared was half interning with us at the point, or at the young adults ministry. At that point, I wasn't talking about the point ministry here at Connection Point, but I was like, he knows the structure. He's been there. Why don't we just see how it goes? And then to have him speak on what he spoke on, but do it that well. Because I remember him saying, like, the first week, I was like, he said, I have no idea how Michael was gonna speak on every single fruit of the Spirit
alone.
Yeah,
not.
He was
how
like,
do I phrase it? Right, like, break it down into each
own
sermon.
One. Yeah. And he was like, man, this is rough. But he did it. We had, I think the reason why that was my favorite moment, I'll say season at the young adults ministry, was because of the unprecedented growth that we saw. We had the week that Pastor Michael got sick, I was supposed to speak. I did speak, and I hadn't learned about you being in the hospital until the Saturday morning before. I was like, oh, okay. But I was like, it's fine. Like, I'll speak. We can figure it out then. And then the following week we had a night of worship, so it worked out because you didn't necessarily need to be there. But I remember that night of worship. There were 12 people there and 9 people were serving. And I was at the point where, like, if we don't get something in place by next week, I could truly see this ministry, like, falling apart. The next week we decided that the night of worship that we were going to do small groups during the service, and the following week at the young adults service. And I felt like we saw more people that week, of course, than the week prior. And then from there, like I said, we went from 12 people, and like I said, 3 people that weren't serving, to 40. I think the week you came back, we had 40 people, 40 something people.
Yeah.
And I was like at the end of it, I was like, wow, how in the world did that happen? And also, how did we make it through it? Yeah. Because yes, we were being supported by like the leadership of the church, and yes, we had a leadership team, but we didn't want to talk in the band chat, because by the time that, like, we had gotten a rhythm and everything, you were awake. We didn't want you to see anything going on in the band chat, or even Bethany, because we wanted you guys to focus on getting you better. And so we weren't really communicating well at all within the leadership team. And at that point, like, everyone was like, is Grayson on leadership team? Is Grayson not on leadership team?
I didn't even know. I was like, I guess we're going to go see this guy in the hospital and be like, hey, I guess this is okay.
Wake me up.
But at the end of the day, I'm like, hey, just so you know, there's 40 people here, though.
Yeah. Like, and then you came back, and we just ran with it. But like I said, the hustle and bustle of that season, trying to make sure we kept everything afloat. Or trying to make sure we're keeping everything afloat, but then it exceeding what we were even putting into it, what our expectations were.
I missed amazing. My goal.
What was your goal? 50? Yeah.
I texted him, I think when he was in the hospital, and said, you'll have 50 when you get back.
Oh, man.
We had 40. I'll take 40, though.
I think we got up to like 45 or something, but I mean, it doesn't really matter about the numbers. But people were inviting their friends. We had people from the church that were coming. Relationships were started there.
Yeah.
They were improved through 4-1.
Good.
Sorry. Cut. They were improved through the young adult ministry, and I couldn't be more thankful for that season and what it taught me just in life. Because I hadn't had something happen like that prior to that moment, but it taught me a lot. It taught me how to hunker down and go.
For sure. Yeah. No, that's awesome. Both you guys, and just our leadership team as a whole, such a blessing to me and to my wife, to our ministry during that season. I mean, I've told you guys this. I've talked to our leadership team about this. Like, it was such a great feeling to, you wake up in that situation, the situation I was in. You're not expecting it. You had a lot of information flying at you. You're feeling some type of way physically. But one of the first things in my head was, what is going on with the young adults ministry? I was immediately worried about you guys, and to find out what I found out, that you guys got it. It took such a load off of our shoulders, such a pressure off of us. I can't thank you guys, and I can't thank our team enough, and our church, our leadership, everything that everyone did to kind of make sure that we were okay in that season. So huge. But it's funny that that's your favorite time span for the young adults, especially knowing how crazy that was, and the way you guys stepped up, because my favorite moments, I have two. One, honestly, is just launching the young adults ministry in the first place. That was what I was brought on staff for at CPC. It's something we had been dreaming about, something me and my wife had been dreaming about together. We both have a heart for young adults ministry. We met in a young adults ministry, and served in a young adults ministry together, and we understand how important this ministry is to this age group. And so just seeing that come to life after months and months of planning, and just the incredible pastoral leadership that's here at CPC, and them partnering with us and having our backs and helping us get to this point, and just seeing it happen was so huge. It's such a full circle moment for me personally in life, but then also just an awesome moment for our church. When something's healthy, it grows, right? And so I think you look around CPC, you see what's happening, man. There's growth happening. There's movement happening, and it's always exciting to see God move in those ways. So just to see it happening with us and with this young adults ministry, and knowing that we're a part of that, is just huge. And it means a lot to me. I know it means a lot to you guys. It means a lot to just the YA ministry as a whole. But on an even more personal note, coming back, the first time that I was back after getting sick was the first week of September. It was the start of the Drained series that we did on mental health, which already, like, even when I made the schedule, that was one. I mean, I made that schedule a year in advance.
Yeah.
And that was one I kind of had circled, because I knew, like, that's going to be a heavy one. That's a topic that's near and dear to my heart. And so I was very ready for that one, but didn't know, obviously, what all was going to transpire.
Right.
And so then it even became even more of a, I was even more excited because I'm coming back and I get to do this thing that, like, this is my calling. This is what I'm passionate about. And not being able to do that for months was one of the hardest things. I mean, the whole situation that happened with my health, I mean, we've talked about it at length several times. That was hard.
Yeah.
But the mental struggle of I can't do what I know I'm supposed to be doing, and I couldn't be there with you guys.
Yeah.
And I'm hearing the stories and I know how great it is, and I'm pumped. I'm high-fiving you guys in my mind, like from my hospital room, but on the inside I'm like, I should be there. And it was just this struggle of not being able to I felt like I was letting you guys down, felt like I was letting, and I know, like, obviously, but your mind just plays that trick on you. So being able to, get back in the game, so to speak, was great. And it felt awesome. But at the same time, and I don't know that I've talked about this too much publicly, but like, there was also a lot of, there was a fear there, because this has always been the thing that I've felt the most confident in, especially just speaking in general, ministry, like that kind of stuff. I've been in or around or involved in this for a long time. It's very rare now for me to be nervous to preach or something like that, because I'm just used to it. And this was the first time in my life that I can remember having to be like, can I still do this?
Yeah.
Can I still do what I know I'm called to do? Not only from a mental standpoint, but physically. My body went through so much stuff that I'm still admittedly recovering from. But at that point, especially, I didn't know. I was getting worn out just, walking from my bedroom to the bathroom. I didn't know, because being up there under all the lights and, all the stuff that you have to do, like, I didn't know if my body could handle it. I didn't know if my vocal cords could handle it. They took some damage from having the tube down my throat while I was in the hospital. I didn't know, at that point I couldn't stand on my feet for longer than a few minutes without getting worn out. I didn't know how that was going to affect things. And then from a mental standpoint, and again, it's not something that I typically say publicly in this regard, but there was that feeling of knowing how awesome it was over the summer. I was like, do I even still need to be here? Do they need me? Should I go find something else to do? Have they moved on? Am I still going to fit here? Maybe we let Jared run it and I go do something else. I find another job in the church. Maybe there's another ministry. There was all these moments of like not knowing how much things had really changed. And that uncertainty was really scary.
Yeah.
And so I said all that to say, coming back, I thought I was going to be a nervous wreck, and I thought I was going to be scared, and I thought, like, surely something's going to go wrong, or I'm not going to be able to do this as well. And Monday morning, someone's going to call me into the office and be like, Michael, you tried. Let's get you something else to do. And I just remember being back and doing the thing and just feeling great. To get that first one, and it was like, and it felt like I told Bethany, my wife, I told her after the fact, I was like, that's the first time I felt normal since I woke up.
Wow.
And I didn't realize, I'm trying not to get emotional because it's not what this podcast is about, but I didn't realize how affected by everything I was.
Yeah.
Really until that night. I didn't realize that I hadn't felt like me, and that I hadn't felt good.
Yeah.
Like, because Tyke, me and you are similar in the sense that when there's work to be done, we just put our heads down and go for it. We don't think about much else. And that's the mode I had been in for months at that point, because once I realized what was going on, I was like, I got to get better. I cannot stay like this. I can't stay in this hospital bed. I can't stay in this wheelchair.
Yeah.
By the time I got home, they were like, when I left, they were like, we don't know when you're going to start walking again. I was walking in a week, because I was just like, I think part of it, I was so sick of not being able to move, but that was just kind of the mentality I was in. And so I didn't stop to like kind of take inventory of myself.
Yeah, I mean, you defied every expectation that was said.
Yeah.
Because I mean, they weren't sure if you were going to make it. And then I remember hearing like, it's going to be 6 to 8 months before he's back. And I was like, 6 to 8 months of this? I was like, man, this is going to be.
And listen, don't get me wrong. That's all God. I mean, God really showed up in that situation in ways that I will never forget. And I don't think I'll ever be able to get over it or stop talking about it. It's the most incredible thing, but it was hard.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of pain, and there was a lot of work that had to be done. But there was a lot of pushing through. And because of that, like I said, I didn't take a lot of time to look at how this was affecting me and how it like hit me mentally and things like that. And yeah, that night, you know, that first week of September, like I said, just to get that one under my belt was, I can't put into words how that felt. And a lot of times my wife and I wind up staying till, you know, after everybody else is kind of gone from young adults, and we lock up and, you know, make sure everything's taken care of. And I remember that night everybody cleared out, and I just sat there, and my wife walked up to me. She was like, "How do you feel?" And I just started crying because I couldn't control it. I couldn't contain it at that point. It was months of emotions and months of uncertainty and months of fear and months of, is this ever going to be the same again?
Yeah.
All of that coming out in one moment, because I didn't realize that it was like I was purposely trying to not let myself feel it, because I was afraid of what the answer was going to be on the other side.
Yeah.
But once I got there, and obviously you guys, the team, and everybody else at Young Adults, just seeing you guys and just being welcomed back, and like I said, just it feeling normal again, getting to be back to being Pastor Michael instead of Patient Michael. Man, it just meant everything in the world to me. And so I that is a night that I don't think I'll forget anytime soon. That night, on a personal note, meant so much to me, just to know that I could still do it, and I still fit here, and it still mattered, and it was all those things, all those silly doubts that were in my head that were weighing on me more than I thought. So yeah, that's probably my favorite. That's my favorite moment from YA this year.
Well, if you're watching and you attended the Young Adults Ministry in this past year, the year of 2023. Wow. Put down in the comments your favorite moment. Let us know what you liked about this year, and maybe we can try to replicate it. If people like certain things, you know, we're not gonna put Pastor Michael back in the hospital. Yeah,
we'll try not to. We'll try to avoid that. I'll try to get through the summer in 2024, see what happens.
Woo! But let us know your favorite moments. We just want to hear what you guys want to say.
Appreciate y'all. Thanks for looking back at the year with us.
Also, let us know what your favorite hairstyle from Grayson was this year.
Had to be the braids.
Or not. We will see you guys. We'll be back. We're not going to have Young Adults for the next few weeks, but we will be back on January 7th. So
but you can catch us here next week.
We will be on the CPC YA Podcast.
Yep. See you guys.
See y'all.